Welcome to the Vintage Gaming Channel, and this is the Platinum Hits. And we're going to start off with one of my personal favorites, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Honestly, being Platinum, the gameplay is fantastic and satisfying, and a total bangin' soundtrack. And for the story, it's pretty good. It is Metal Gear we're talking about here. Now let's get into the gameplay. Combat and movement is super smooth, and it feels natural, and as action-packed as Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. With it being a Metal Gear game, it does give some opportunities to do some stealth parts if you so wish, which I really did like, as it doesn't forget where the game series came from. Not to worry, codec conversations and cutscenes are plentiful.
So that's where they're holed up.
Some kind of electronic lock on the gate.
Most likely it opens only if you have the right ID tape.
And they don't interrupt the gameplay much at all. If anything, they give a nice break from the intense high-speed action. And I do think the developers were using it in such a way to help hide some of those load times, which I do think is a good move in my opinion. The enemy design is great, and you get a good variation of enemies to cut through, and with that, my favorite feature of the combat that Rising adds is Zandatsu. If you need or want more health or energy, you have to perform this move to steal health and energy from your enemies. Kinda like the Absorb in Pokemon, but a bit more graphic. Now, it can't be a Metal Gear game without story. Hey, not you, get out of here! So here we go. The story takes place after Metal Gear Solid 4 with Raiden working for a PMC company, which stands for Private Military Contractor, if any of you were wondering. And he's on a current contract in Africa helping the country be more stable and peaceful. And then they are hit by another PMC group called Desperado, and they steal the Prime Minister. Raiden gives chase and fails to get to him in time.
Damn it!
And the Prime Minister is killed by Desperado.
Give war a chance!
And not to give away too much of the story, we will stop there. Just keep in mind, after this, Raiden sets his sights on Desperado, after using some limbs for the umpteenth time.
Shit, not again!
And now it's time for the real meat and potatoes of Rising, the boss fights. As in classic Platinum fashion, the boss fights are completely over the top. Starting off with a Metal Gear Ray unit, as we were introduced to those from Metal Gear Solid 2. Instead of a hydraulic cutter, they have swapped it out with a giant plasma cannon.
They swapped out the hydraulic cutter for a plasma cannon.
And ending the game's boss fights with a Hulkified Senator, so there is no shortage of unique cast of characters, and we will go over all of them here. Starting with Jetstream Sam.
Okay, let's dance!
A Brazilian cyborg. Yep, you heard me right. This is Metal Gear after all. Anyways, he sports a high-frequency Muramasa blade. He even beats Raiden in their first encounter, which forces Raiden to get upgrades, so that should tell you how badass he really is. Following Sam, we get
IF prototype LQ84I,
a wolf cyborg equipped with a chainsaw, a very Mad World-esque. During the fight, you have a conversation with the AI, Wolf, about freedom, and then by the end, you somehow get him as a companion, even though you diced him up into a ton of tiny pieces. So I'm not sure about that one. I feel bad for the welder who had to piece him back together. Next is Mistral.
If you would kill for your ideals, then surely you are ready to die for them.
And she uses a bunch of arms to make a staff and throws tiny robots at you, so you have to dodge them and cut her staff in order to get close enough to do some damage. After an explosive entrance in Denver, Monsoon is the next boss, but before his boss fight, a cutscene plays out to where Raiden goes full-on Joker, and I love it.
I think it's time for Jack to let her rip.
Then the fight with Monsoon begins. He separates his body and throws APCs, helicopters, tanks, so on and so forth. All in all, a fantastic boss fight. Then once you get to the top of the tower, you are face to face with Sundowner. The man that killed the Prime Minister in Africa. He is sporting 2 giant butcher blades and an explosive shield. Definitely keeps you on your toes during this fight. Then comes your rematch with Jetstream Sam. A classic Sunset Samurai showdown. A great test of skills for sure. Now my favorite boss in Metal Gear Excelsius. Not only is the track for the fight completely banging, but the Metal Gear itself is giant. You end the fight by ripping its arm off and cutting it in half with it. Simply awesome.
I'm sorry.
The final boss fight is epic, trading blows and debating with Armstrong. A great last boss for sure. You end the fight with Sam's sword and ripping out his heart.
Armstrong!
All in all, great boss fights all around. All of them are unique and they're all great. And if some of the fights are a bit too difficult for you, don't worry about that. The game has a great upgrade system, and every boss you beat, you get their weapon as a secondary attack, which is a nice add to the gameplay. So you can mix up your attacks, try different things, and see what suits your playstyle the best. And as for the replayability, unlockable weapons, outfits, and bonus missions, and not to mention the 2 DLC packs for Blade Wolf and Jetstream Sam, are fantastic. 10 out of 10 in my book. Great gameplay, great story, amazing soundtrack, tons of replay value. You can even get Gray Fox as an outfit, which is awesome by itself. I can't recommend this game enough. Platinum doing some of their finest work here. A great pick to hold you over for Bayonetta 3. Now thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe for more great content. This is VGC signing off.
I think it's time for Jack